Hi everyone, I'm Brian. Today we're going to be taking a look at Unmatched, the 2 to 4 player dueling game from Restoration Games. In Unmatched, players choose characters from popular fiction, such as King Arthur and Bigfoot, as I have here, and put them together in duels to the death using their own unique deck of cards and a special character power. So let's take a look. Okay, so as you can see, we have the different character cards here from the various sets that I have. Each one has their own unique ability. Now the creators made these reference cards all the same on this side and character specific obviously on the character side. And one of the reasons they did this is so that if you wanted to, you could shuffle these up. I picked 2 at random and we'll use those for today's example. So here we get. Oh great, Medusa versus Sherlock Holmes. Alright, here's our match ready to go. Medusa versus Sherlock Holmes. So when setting up the board, each of the boards has numbered spaces for the start players. So here we've got player 1 and player 2, and if this was to be a 4-player match, we'd also place characters on spaces 3 and 4. But in this case, this is just a 2-player example. Now, first player is Medusa, and she has 3 harpy sidekicks, represented by these tokens. Look how ugly that is. Now when you place a sidekick, you can place it anywhere in your character's zone. A zone is indicated by these coloured spaces. So for example, Medusa goes here on this sort of medium grey space. Now any other space that shares that colour, no matter where it is considered part of that zone. You'll have some spaces which may have 2 or even 3 colours. It is considered to be spaces in both of those zones. So in this case, I can place the harpies on any space that share Medusa's colour, like so. Now, if we look at Medusa's card, here we go, it shows that she is a ranged attacker, which means that she can fire at any character in the same zone as herself. So, as it starts now, Medusa is unable to attack either Sherlock Holmes or his sidekick Dr. Watson because they are not in the same zone as Medusa. If, however, one of those characters was to move into that zone, she would be able to shoot him no matter where in that zone she was. Okay. It also shows that she starts with 16 hit points on her dial, measured here, and her power is, at the start of your turn, you may deal 1 damage to 1 opposing fighter in Medusa's zone. So even if I'm in her zone at the start of her turn, I take a damage. Also shows that she can move up to 3 spaces, and her harpies are melee attackers, which means they must be adjacent. Now adjacency is determined by these solid black lines. Any black line that is connected is considered adjacent. And because they are only sidekicks, in this case, each of their tokens is worth 1 health point, so if one of these harpies takes a hit, it's gone. So let's take a look at Sherlock Holmes. So again, similar to Medusa's, we have his name. Sherlock is a melee character, so he's good at boxing. You can even see he's got his little boxing stance there. Pretty cool. And his special ability is effects on Holmes and Dr. Watson cards cannot be cancelled by an opponent. Effects on any cards can be cancelled. So I'll explain that shortly. They are capable of moving 2 spaces on a maneuver, and Dr. Watson is a ranged character, and his starting health is 8 because he has his own small dial set to 8 points. So some sidekicks have their own dial, others are just tokens. Usually the multiple tokens have 1 hit point each, and the single companions have a dial. Okay, so that is Sherlock and Dr. Watson. Alright, so let's take a look at a typical turn. So on the back of Medusa's reference card, and all of the character reference cards, we see these same 3 actions. So it says here you must take 2 actions. You may choose 2 different actions or the same action twice. So if I want, I can take 2 maneuver actions, or I could take 2 scheme, or attack and a maneuver, or a scheme and an attack, whatever version I like. Now, on a maneuver, it says it is mandatory to draw a card. So if my first move is to draw a card, I pick up a card. That's my maneuver. I have to do that, and now I can choose to move my fighter. Now, as we indicated before, Medusa and her harpies can each move 3 spaces. I do want to move. I'm going to move the harpies 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I think I'll move Medusa just 1, because that puts her in range of Dr. Watson without getting her too close. So now, for my second action, I'm going to attack. Alright, so let's say that Medusa wants to attack Dr. Watson. She has 2 options here. She can use either a red attack card or a purple attack or defense card. I think these are called versatile cards in the game. So versatile cards are indicated by this half attack and half shield icon here, which means it either has an attack value of 3 or a defense value of 3. Red, simply an attack value. And here we have a blue one, shield, which is only a defense card. So let's say, for example, she's going to try to use her Gaze of Stone. And it says, after combat, if you won the combat, deal 8 damage to the opposing fighter. So this is a really powerful attack if it gets through the defense. So let's say she's going to play that card. She would indicate that, I'm going to attack you, and lay that face down. Then the Sherlock Holmes player has a choice. He looks at his cards, and he sees here that, well, 4 out of his 5 cards are Holmes cards, which means they can only be utilized by Sherlock Holmes. They can't be used by Dr. Watson. However, there's this one any card, which is a versatile card, so it can be used for defense, and either of those 2 characters can use it. So they're going to use that now. So both players place their cards face down and then reveal, and we see that Dr. Watson successfully defended Medusa's attack because it was equal to or greater than the attack value. Additionally, even if the attack had gotten through, because this is a feint card, which each character has in the game, immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So let's say, for example, that her attack had got through, this ability would not trigger because this card cancels it. So it's a pretty powerful defense, but as it happened, that wouldn't have happened anyway because the attack value was not high enough to penetrate the defenses. So the next action we're going to look at is scheme. So we've looked at attack, we've looked at maneuver, now we're looking at scheme. So let's say it's Sherlock Holmes' turn. This is his hand at the moment. Now he currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in his hand, which is the maximum value that any player can have at the end of their turn. You can have more than that during a turn, but by the end you must have used cards or be forced to discard down to 7 cards at the end of your turn. So Sherlock Holmes is going to scheme. He's going to select this card, eliminate the impossible. And it says, choose an opponent, Medusa, look at their hand and choose 1 card for them to discard. So we take a look at the enemy's hand. We see there are quite a number of versatile cards in there. And we have this scheme card of Medusa's, which is a momentary glance. Deal 2 damage to any 1 fighter in Medusa's zone. So that seems pretty powerful because she doesn't even have to move or attack, and I can't defend that damage. So I'm going to opt for her to discard that. So she discards that card, and that's it. That's a scheme. There are different types of schemes, and every character who has schemes has different schemes to other characters. So these are all quite unique and very much in the flavor of the particular character that's being played. So for example, Sherlock Holmes is a very scheme-heavy character. He's a detective, he's good at outwitting his opponents and outthinking them. So he has a lot of scheme cards, and I really enjoy playing Sherlock Holmes for that reason. I mentioned before that on the maneuver action, it states that you must draw a card and that is mandatory. Now the reason that is mandatory is because this deck of cards is also a ticking clock. If you get to the end of the game and you've only got, say, a couple of cards left, and I have to end up drawing from that deck, if I have no cards left to draw, this discard pile does not get reshuffled. That is done. which means I am done. If I don't have any cards left to draw, and I have to draw if I need to move, instead of moving, I now have to take a damage. Now let's say that throughout the battle, Holmes is reduced to 6 hit points. That effectively means I have 6 rounds before I'm bleeding out and dead. So it's bad news. If you get down to no cards, chances are you're not going to be very long for this world. However, most games I've found tend to be over before that happens, although a couple of games have gone right down to the wire. So that's how to play, but why do I enjoy Unmatched so much? Well, for me, Unmatched ticks a lot of boxes. It's fast to set up, simple to learn, easy to teach, and just a lot of fun. The more sets that you add to your collection, the more variety of play and pair-ups you're going to have. Now, I would recommend that you play this with 2 players or 4 players rather than 3. 3 is just a bit of a mess. You're going to end up inevitably ganging up on one person, and that's no fun for anyone. I think it's really made with either 1-on-1 or 2v2 in mind. And no discussion of Unmatched could be complete without mentioning the artwork. Let's take a look at this. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but this is Alice's deck. Just look at the artwork here. Absolutely incredible. Every single one of these is an exquisite work of art that I would be happy to have displayed on my wall. And where else can you have Sherlock Holmes paired up with the velociraptors from Jurassic Park fighting Medusa and Alice from Alice in Wonderland? It's crazy, and I absolutely love it. All the characters are pretty well balanced in this game. There are a few that I prefer to play more than others, but overall I've had a great time no matter which character I'm playing. Also, the individual character powers are really thematic and really fit the tone and flavour of each character. For example, Alice in Wonderland has a power that allows her to start the game either big or small. If you start her big, she gets +2 on her attack. Small, +1 defense. And there are cards in her deck that can allow her to change size up and down depending. And this creates a new kind of strategy where you've got to plan ahead and decide, well, do I want to have extra defense in this round, or do I want the extra attack? Likewise, the velociraptors here, they hunt as a pack. So they get bonuses from being adjacent to one another or surrounding an opponent. So you need to plan your attacks accordingly. Medusa, a ranged attacker, not much of a heavy hitter unless you get the right powers out, and then she can be absolutely devastating. And Sherlock Holmes, with his schemes and being able to anticipate other characters while at the same time preventing them from cancelling his actions, I just love it. Now, the only set that's available on retail at the moment at the time of this video that I'm missing is Red Riding Hood and Beowulf, and I can't wait to get that. At the end of the day, Restoration Games has done an amazing job in capturing the theme, feel and flavour of every one of these characters. Well done, Restoration. Big fan. So that's it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching. As you can tell, I'm a massive fan of Unmatched and I cannot wait to complete my collection. If you've played Unmatched, let me know what you think in the comments below. But for now, I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.